My name is Val Kilmer. I'm an actor.
I gotta tell you, I'm so excited to talk to you because I found this movie about your dad to be so fascinating, not just because we get a peek into his life, but also his brain. Like we get a glimpse into that as well, and I just kept thinking when I was watching it, this man has lived so many lives.
It is difficult to talk and to be understood. But I want to tell my story more than ever.
Jack, as someone who literally, was the voice for your dad and narrating this movie, what do you think was the message he was trying to get across about his life?
I think he wanted people to see different sides of him that haven't been seen before in the public eye. And I think he really had something to say about life and about creativity. And I'm not quite sure how to articulate that message, but it's very clear in the film that he loves life and he is dedicated to being a creative person.
And creating art. Yeah, you definitely got that watching it. I love that when you were narrating, they did show a couple of times where you're like, wait, did that really happen? What would you say was the most surprising thing that you learned about your dad or story that you found out about?
Well, I did not know that Doc Holliday was a dentist. Okay. I obviously knew the Doc part, but I thought that was like a cool nickname. And, my dad was really really dedicated to acting, and he doesn't really talk about his process that often. Maybe that's because he's at a ninja level of acting. And also because he's probably talked about it his whole life.
Right.
And, but just to see him as a young man just learn this craft was just so cool.
And Mercedes, for you watching this film back, was there anything that surprised you or made you emotional?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, the entire movie made me emotional. And I wouldn't say things surprised me about my dad. He's such an open person that I know very well, obviously. But it did really surprise me to see it with the audience, or I'm so used to people not understanding my dad. I'm so used to his public image being different than the playful, funny person that we know. So it did kind of really move me and surprise me to see audiences really see him for the first time. And that was incredible. And yeah, to see his life, this collage of all of his different lives and selves, to see it narrativized cohesively, to see our lives kind of made sense of in this 2-hour narrative was pretty profound.
Obviously, your dad was such a fixture in Hollywood and has had so many iconic roles, but much has been said or written about him over the years. What would you guys say is the biggest misconception about your dad? And do you feel like this doc kind of proved otherwise?
I think this movie's really shows you a glimpse into Hollywood, the way it was for, since the golden age of Hollywood. I think Hollywood in the last 15 years has changed a lot. Mm-hmm. And, there aren't movie stars, in quotes, like there were back then.
Right.
And, it was a lot different back then. And, the media was a lot different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think actors of his generation, everybody, that time, the beginning of the internet and the height of the paparazzi in the 90s and 2000s was a really wild and really brutal time in the media. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a time, I think audiences right now are very eager to see kind of behind the scenes of that media machine and to reevaluate things. I keep mentioning this, but I've been so into watching what's going on with Britney Spears.
Right.
And just, we're all kind of culturally reckoning with what just happened?
How the media treated these people.
Yeah. So I think that's something, I mean, my dad also has a reputation that he has because he is a very serious, very dedicated
actor,
theater actor. So he comes across as very serious, but he's actually very funny. And I think
he's a lot like Britney Spears in anyway.
How so, Jack? How so?
He is actually, yeah.
The dancing, the style. I don't know.
A unique sense of humor.
And that's also kind of the theme of the movie is how, through art, you really can grapple with the most difficult parts of life, and
Right.
like he's had a lot of grief in his life, and he's had a lot of hardships with his illness and things, but he's always like, even he'd be in the hospital filming everything and making collages and everything, and the film is really about
Yeah,
how,
I mean, yeah, just
about
and
that.
just like the behind the scenes footage is amazing, and the
Yeah.
like the goofing off at Top Gun level is like it's just so fun to watch. And
that was so cool. I had never seen the behind the scenes of Top Gun that
But
he
kinda,
filmed. So
yeah.
that
it's
was
almost
so
like he brought that energy to every project he's worked on, because that's just who he is. Like, he's so dedicated to his craft, but he also knows how to, have a good time.
yeah, sometimes against his better judgment.
Like I said, I
Yeah,
but it kept him sane.
for sure.
Yeah.
What do you guys hope your dad's legacy will be?
What I'm like very proud of about our dad is that he's very like dedicated intellectual actor, thespian, like classically trained actor. But he's also has a very kind of populist mentality about he's always really had a lot of reverence for big Hollywood pictures, and I think he's been able to do something that not many people have, which is to bring like that level of craft into these kind of big comic book adapted, big Hollywood movies. And because he's always really loved like the entertainment for like the people. Like I think he could have had a more academic, like elitist career. But that's something that I think is his legacy, is that he has been able to kind of integrate a lot of what is great about American film entertainment and theater.
I think he's just like a combination of like just Marlon Brando, Britney Spears, and Jimi Hendrix too.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of amazing.
I see myself as a sensitive, intelligent human being, but with the soul of a clown.